Our tradition began in 1914. It was a time of rapid growth and expansion in the transportation industry. In Florida, the term airline was being used for the first time. In Minnesota, a new bus company named Greyhound was founded. And across the country, the Model T Ford was taking the automobile industry by storm. In New York City, a young man by the name of Irving Beck had become fascinated with another form of transportation, the motorcycle. He began importing motorcycle parts and accessories and selling them to American riders. Shortly after beginning his business, World War I began. The United States Army needed sidecars for the thousands of motorcycles it used during the war. Beck made his first big sale, sidecars built in Australia. Over the next decade, Beck Distributing flourished as he traveled the world, establishing relationships with a network of manufacturers. The business grew into a new 8-story headquarters in New York City and began to publish a full catalog of parts and accessories. Beck was gaining a reputation of trust, not just with customers, but with many manufacturers as well. The tradition had begun. At the end of World War II, another imported vehicle captures the hearts of Americans, the European sports car. These cars were curvy and sleek and didn't resemble anything the nation had ever seen. They were new, exciting, and different. With a fresh, positive outlook and money to spend, the American love affair with import cars was underway. Beck, whose business had been put on the back burner in support of the war effort, was also seeking something exciting and different. As British car manufacturers started contacting him about supplying parts to American drivers, Beck again saw an opportunity. And so Beck Distributing became one of the first businesses to supply American drivers with import car parts. The timing of his decision couldn't have been any better. In the early 1960s, the Volkswagen Beetle arrived in the United States. American drivers went nuts over the bug. More than 10 million would be purchased over the next decade. This sparked competition for import car parts. For the first time, import car parts became more than just a business in the United States. It was a full-fledged industry. Beck Distributing was already established in the market. Beck was very strategic, and the company's growing network of import manufacturers played well into the ability to individually source parts for the growing import car market. Beck Distributing continued to gain the trust of more customers and more manufacturers, and the tradition grew. Over the years, the industry rapidly grew. Many parts suppliers began flooding the market, but their mass production techniques often resulted in parts that weren't exact fits. They weren't as precise as what originally came on the car. Beck, however, continued its tradition of sourcing part by part, finding the perfect manufacturer for each application. Technicians quickly learned that Beck parts matched the car's original specifications. As the decades passed, Beck Distributing grew with the industry. There were key mergers and acquisitions, including Brigham St. John Incorporated, Arnley Brake Shoe Company of Pittsburgh, and an industry-changing merger in the late 1980s with World Parts Corporation. Each merger and acquisition was another building block critical to the company's success. Today, Beck Arnley works with more than 400 manufacturers to supply a catalog of more than 23,000 import parts, including parts for engines, filtration, brake and chassis systems, and many other specialty items. In the spirit of Beck's original innovation and vision, Beck Arnley also has become the first in the industry to introduce an OE quality line of fluids. As Beck Arnley celebrates 100 years in business, one thing has remained constant, and that's our tradition of providing quality parts while filling the import market's needs. We're continuing the tradition established for us by Irving Beck. We're still searching the world for the right parts so you don't have to. And we'll continue to do that into our second century of business.